We can try to good lunch, right? My name is Richert. I am a proud member of Oakland Planning Development Corporation. First off, I want to thank you all for your attendance and your patience tonight. We think this is going to be a great event and worth your time, and also a great opportunity to tell you some of the gospel of why Oakland Planning Development Corporation and this neighborhood is doing so many dynamic things. I come to this board because I'm addicted to being on good boards in this town. I'm also literally born in Oakland at McGee Women's Hospital 40 years ago. And I also had the distinct pleasure of attending Shelley High School. So I always want to give that free Spartan shout out there to kind of get the crowd going. Again, this is a really important organization at a really important time in our city. All of us who either live in Oakland or neighborhoods like Oakland know that there is some real issues relative to neighborhood development, homeowners' rights, homeowner access. And I'm proud to be part of an organization which is really trying to look out on behalf of homeowners in one of the most important historic neighborhoods in this town. And I think one of the cool things we're doing here, and I want to make sure I look to our executive director, Ms. Vaughn Wilson, as I hopefully get this correct. But we're kicking off, today we are kicking off, as I look at my notes of my classes. Today, well, of course, today we kick off the Oakland Land Trust, which is a pretty big deal. Not only is it a big deal in terms of what it's going to do for this neighborhood, it's also, when you talk to a lot of other folks involved with CDCs and nonprofits in the city, they're looking at OPDC and Oakland Land Trust as an opportunity to figure out how land trusts can be real tools to encourage smart development that looks out for homeowners and visual rights here. But largely, all that to give you my background in terms of OPDC. My most important job today is introduce a local legend, Mr. Richert. Tremendous voice in a bunch of mediums in this town. I didn't want to have an awkward meeting with him when I was about to say that he's been like the soundtrack to most of the important moments of my life. Steelers championships, so when I go to sleep, more often than not, I'm hearing your voice, which is But Mr. Richert has a tremendous resume in a lot of areas of media. He's been the voice of a bunch of the Steelers films. He's the voice of Pittsburgh Panthers and the voice of Heinz Field. He is a proud Western Pennsylvanian who is also married to most importantly, a proud Oaklander. And I think it's important for us to give him a warm round of applause as well, and a big star who's going to run a tremendous event tonight, Mr. Richert.
Mr. Camara, please pick up your lucky Ruddy Duck Puckstoro contestant card in 32. Welcome to Heinz Field. Today, the Pittsburgh Steelers host the Dallas Cowboys. Heinz Field has 3 main gates. Once you enter the stadium, you may not exit and re-enter. That's how I spend my life. Back to the point in front, Sidney Crosby with a blast. Oh, Pigman struck one there behind it, and it goes. Malkin in front to Crosby. Crosby shoots and scores. He tickles the twine at 12-19. Oh, my Senator can get his not 1-2. The Penguins have tied the game at 3. This is how I spend my life. In the grocery store. That's right. Buy one, get one free with coupon. Northern Toilet Tissue, get a 12-roll pack for only $6.99. Welcome. I'm very honored to be here, and thank you for the introduction. So, when Rebecca Rinaldo, she called me up, and you're an Oakland resident, a native, correct? Not a native. Then I shouldn't have answered the call. Buonasera, benvenuti nell'Associazione Italo-Americana di Sport. Sono benvenuti nella Giunta d'Italia, dividito che è stato bellissimo, è una grande rimessa di questa sera presentare questi premi, which is what my father-in-law, Dan Marino Sr., taught me, which is, I just saved a bunch of money on my car insurance in Italian. So, how does a kid born in Millville who emigrated to the north suburban community end up in Oakland? Great story. So I meet my wife, Cindy Marino, at WTAE television 30 years ago, and my life has never been the same. So she grew up on Parkview Avenue in South Oakland, and my Cindy is the brother of Dan Marino, and when I was embarrassed because when I met her, I didn't realize that her brother was Dan Marino. So at the time, I was producing the Pitt football games, and she came to the production area at the radio station, and she said, "What are you doing?" She was looking for music. She worked for Ann Devlin's Pittsburgh's talking show. And I said, "I'm putting together some Pitt football promos. You're in for a game." She goes, "Oh, my brother played at Pitt." I'm like, "Well, what's the young tyke's name? Maybe I know him." She goes, "Dan." And I go, "Dan Marino." I was so embarrassed. So I married her, obviously, to get free tickets, which I haven't gotten yet. But people often ask me, well, what was it like to have Dan Marino as a brother-in-law? And I said it was great, because Dan's a really Oakland, down-home, University of Pittsburgh guy. But it was nothing like having Dan Marino as a father-in-law, her dad, whose family grew up in Oakland. He said when his grandfather and father emigrated from Italy, they moved to Fraser Street in South Oakland. And he worked for 6 years in the mills to make enough money to bring his family from Italy to Pittsburgh. And so many people that came here, stayed here, and anyone will tell you back in those days, a great family neighborhood, great mix of all ethnicities from all over the world, really. And so my father-in-law used to tell me, Oakland is like Rome. All the roads lead to Oakland, like Rome. And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "We have everything. We have the culture, we have the people from everywhere. This is really the jewel of Western Pennsylvania, is Oakland." So he told me that right from the very beginning. So as we're in the courtyard, I look up and I can see Shenley High School, which is now some beautiful apartments apparently. But that's where my in-laws met. So I felt a very close connection to Oakland. Obviously, the footprint and really when you think the eds and meds and the people who have come here, lived here, and gone to other places around the world, this truly is a really dynamic and special neighborhood. Some of the most amazing things in humanity have emanated from Oakland, truly. Think of Jonas Salk and all the people involved over the years that have come to Oakland and made Oakland and put Oakland on the map all over the world. So I'm very humbled to be here tonight, but it's not my idea to tell stories. This is a very special night for Oakland to tell stories. And really, let's be honest, if you really walk around Oakland, you can get storytellers every night of the week on every street corner. So thank you for having me, and I really appreciate what you're doing here with the Oakland Community Land Trust to try to stabilize Oakland's residential area and some of the dynamic things that the OPDC is doing at the very grassroots level to empower single moms who are just simply trying to be good mothers and raise children, and it takes this community to do that. So we appreciate your support and participation tonight. My real job is doing what I still do. That's waking people up early on KDK and telling them it's early and it's dark out. What's the temperature? What's the weather going to be like? Did the Pirates, Penguins, or Steelers win? And what's the news of the day? But in this case, I'm really excited because the storytellers, I don't know if you've heard of the Moth, but this is a really amazing storyteller theme that's sweeping the nation. And tonight's stories were curated by Kelly Flanagan D with the Moth here in Pittsburgh. And so the theme tonight is, and he was a friend of mine, and he did have a very big footprint in Oakland, Mr. Rogers. I met Mr. Rogers when I first got on television at KDK. I've been at KDK for 29 years. I knew him as Mr. Rogers, right? Mr. Rogers. And I walked past his table, and there were 10 people at his table at this dinner event. And I thought, that's Mr. Rogers. It's Mr. Rogers. And he looked up and he said, "Hi, Larry." I couldn't believe he knew my name. He goes, "I watch your show every morning at 6:30. I'm like, "Really?" He goes, "Sure. You're so whimsical." That's about the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me in my entire life. So the theme tonight is neighbor. Gonna be a good neighbor here in Oakland? Sure. So our first storyteller is Stephen Cooper, outdoor education coordinator, registered nurse at Winchester Thurston School, and two-time Moth Story Slam winner. Please welcome Stephen Cooper. Stephen Cooper, thank you. Great job. Our next storyteller is Dr. Kathy Humphrey, Senior Vice Chancellor for Engagement and Chief of Staff at the University of Pittsburgh and an Oakland resident. Let's welcome Dr. Kathy Humphrey. I know you're the Chief of Staff at the University of Pittsburgh, but when are you coming out with the album? What a beautiful voice. Thank you for sharing. I would now like to introduce you to an attorney, an Oakland resident, OPDC board member, and author of, and you may not know this, the Schenley Experiment. I mean, we're literally in the shadow of Schenley, a social history of Pittsburgh's first public high school. Please welcome Jake Oresic. Benning, center fielder Andrew McCutcheon. Will the two guys in fourth row please sit down? And by the way, Father's Day weekend, so to all the dads, happy Father's Day. Our final storyteller is Emily Kane, Board of Directors for Pittsburgh Toy Lending Library and licensed professional counselor. Please welcome Emily Kane. Let's hear it for all of our storytellers. Stephen Cooper, Jake Oresic, they've done a great job. All roads lead to Oakland. What I love about Oakland from the outside in, and now I'm kind of an insider looking out, is the diversity. The strength of Oakland is its diversity. People from every imaginable place, every walk of life, every religion have been here, stayed here in many cases, and made this their home. That is the strength of Oakland. That is the strength of America. Oakland's diversity, and the fact that there are people here tonight who care and want to make Oakland a better place is so worth it. And I applaud all of you in the efforts to do just that. We have one more story to tell from OPDC's Board of Directors. Let's welcome Lauren Akorski.
Good evening, everyone. So I actually will be telling my own story, but in a moment we'll be debuting a new video that OPDC put together that highlights the need for the Community Land Trust in Oakland. So the video is going to feature many neighborhood perspectives that really highlight why the Land Trust will keep Oakland affordable, equitable, and sustainable. Before we see that, I just want to give a shout out, because no one has yet, to the OPDC staff. So planning this fantastic event and attending to all their regular duties, their commitment and their excellence to this mission is unmatched. I I also want to give thanks to Ime Alakiba, Your Mom's House, and Oakland community members who worked really hard for the production of this film. Thanks so much.
As I hop on up here, I think it's important to recognize everyone who was in that film, if they were here, if they could stand up and take a bow. I think it bears repeating to thank those who were in the film. It bears repeating how important the messages were in that film. I think with all that's going on in the world in so many different ways, to see the diversity of faces and voices there that speak to one Oakland and making that Oakland a better Oakland, even for those who live here or don't live here, as the young man said at the end, it's a really powerful statement. And I think it's a nice intro to talk about the fact that we're all here in large part to fellowship and have fun, but also we're here to support an organization which is trying to do dynamic things to protect the residents in this neighborhood. I think we heard that, so many different descriptors of life in Oakland, from young knuckleheads to great neighbors, to those chasing academic greatness, and to those who see Oakland as a gateway drug. And I think all those stories are so important and so beautiful, but they don't continue if we don't put our money where our mouth is and actively try to support entities like OPDC. I thought what was really powerful in that film is to get a greater understanding of the land trust concept, and also the buy-in and leadership from our city leaders to support Oakland in that effort. So this is one of those times where if you have checkbooks or cards, or I don't know if you take straight cash like the old days, but let's really do something about protecting this neighborhood. It means so much to be a part of an organization that is doing so much for what I really think is the heart and soul of this town, and I think when we can put ourselves in an opportunity to save it, all the better. I want to also make sure that I remember to thank our prime sponsors, Walnut Capital and UPMC, who have done some dynamic work to support this event. I think it's another credit to the leadership of OBDC to find so many folks to support what we're trying to get done. So, again, I think if you want to have any large checks to write, that young one right there, one is ready and willing and able. And I'd like to give this up to Mr. Richert to close us out tonight.